The city can play a key role in economic development. In fact, that they should. We've done a lot of research on cities that have gone through similar downturns, Pittsburgh, Denver. We know a lot of the solutions that they've used, so we can implement some of those ideas. Out of that Downtown Economic Summit, a lot of cool ideas came out of that. And so the city must work with Calgary Economic Development, I think most importantly, to build a city that people want to live in.
It's the City of Calgary's crucial role to start getting businesses to put their head offices in Calgary. We have an educated workforce. We have a third of downtown empty. We have lots of rental homes, lots of homes for sale at a reasonable price. We really need to get people back working and start to boost the economy of the city.
Their role in it should be, and from what I've seen talking to a lot of the businesses on Stephen Avenue with the new bike lanes put in, is basically before rolling out any citywide initiatives, take more input in from the business community in order to help them balance what's going to be a citywide rollout. So what I mean by that is that although the city itself, as a councillor, you don't have a lot of control over what you can do for the tax base to some limited degree. What's more important is about consultation with the business community in terms of determining what kind of rollout they're going to do for citywide initiatives, and do that in turn with input from businesses.
As a small business person, it's clear that the role of the city needs to be in job creation through promoting businesses, promoting small or lower business taxes, promoting enticing businesses to start, to move here, to succeed here, and to prosper here. There's not enough of that right now. Right now there's such a large gap between personal and business taxes that we're the largest in Alberta. We need to cut that gap. We need to cut taxes of small business and business in general so that businesses come back here.
There's a few roles that we have, and one is welcoming businesses into our city. That's making sure people are aware of what we have to offer businesses. But the other item is ensuring that we also are not bureaucratic. And so when we say we're welcoming, we actually, when they come into our city, they don't have an excessive amount of red tape to go through, that they understand how to start business and can do so quickly. That's our main roles. Our last role, though, is to ensure that our taxation is not onerous. And so that they can continue to thrive here, and we are attractive relative to all other communities in the city, in Canada.
Currently, the City of Calgary, under the current leadership of Mayor Nenshi and the existing council, we're a $170 million deficit. We need to change that. I know the city has put a hiring freeze amongst city employees. We need to look at everything that the city is doing. We need to take like any small business would do, you need to look at what you have, what you can afford, and that's where you build it all up from. The first thing I would do is I would take a 5% reduction in city councillor pay, and I would encourage all my other councillors to do the same.
So we need to get a hold on line of taxes. We just can't keep raising taxes on people. We need to do some smart spending. 50% of all the spending of the budget goes to city wages. We need to start looking at that. We need to do more with less money.
Right now we're governed by the province to implement market value assessment. It's a regressive tax. It's not built on user pay or ability to pay or services rendered. And we have the opportunity right now to look at the city charter and raise revenue through different sources. But we've got really four big tax users. So we've got police, fire, transportation, and transit. That's 75% of our budget. If we're going to look at massive cuts to our budget, we need to look at those areas. And I'm certainly not hearing from Calgarians or Ward 7 residents they want cuts in those four departments. We really need to look at efficiencies, of course, but look at different sources of revenue, not market value assessment. And we have that opportunity with the city charter.
Yeah, we have a massive issue right now in the city with tax base in the downtown core in particular declining. And that is creating an imbalance of taxes, especially on our small businesses. So what we really need to ensure is that taxes don't increase any further than inflation moving forward and population growth. This is a basic requirement that's been set out also by the Calgary Chamber of Commerce and I think is very reasonable and eminently reachable as well. That being said, we need to start showing leadership, starting at the council level, by taking a 0% tax increase for the remainder of the 4-year term that we're in as well, then negotiating from the top down. This is a situation we're all in at the city. Everyone at the city is very evident that there is a tax or an income problem, and we need to address it. But we need to start from the top down and show some leadership in that regard. Lastly, we need to do a full program review to ensure that we're getting full value for money. And based on where we're at in the economic cycle, there are some services that are needed more than others, some that are needed less than they have been in the past. So we have to make sure that we are putting our resources where they're needed.
The biggest problem in the city of Calgary, and noticeably we've seen it from community to community, is they're not very transparent. So I don't know what the situation is, because I'd say close to 80% of the information you would need to make an educated decision about taxes, the information's either redacted or taken away. The real answer here is, and probably not what viewers want to hear, is I don't know. I don't know whether I can lower taxes. I don't know if I can raise taxes. I don't know. The city is so notoriously opaque in its business dealings that the correct answer here is I can't tell you that.
I am solidly with the taxpayers on this. You know, Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, those teams have all built their own arenas. And in fact, Ottawa, which is actually smaller than Calgary, is building their second one in less than 25 years, all on their own time. Now, I do think as a city, if we have excess land, that we can definitely contribute the land portion to it, especially since it's located in a good spot for arena, which is close to an LRT, excellent access to transportation. Other than that, no, I do believe this is a business decision, and business must take on the business risk and at the same time reap all the rewards from it. So that's where I stand on the arena.
I am a fiscal conservative, and I do not believe in subsidizing businesses. So I am not in favor of spending tax dollars on what is a want and not a need. And I don't believe it's a deal at all cost scenario. Taxpayers are being hit and bruised for the past few years, and the census is they do not want their tax money in going into this arena.
I would propose actually a much different solution, and since the Calgary Flames is a limited partnership, we can buy into that partnership. I believe that the city wouldn't set a precedent in terms of a city owning a sports team, as with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The city of Calgary could buy in as a partner to the Flames, and then we could start exploring the ideas of a new arena at that juncture. Publicly, I am opposed to the arena as it stands. I refuse to give taxpayers' money straight up to the Calgary Flames. That doesn't make any sense to me.
We need to find a way to yes. Currently, our current mayor seems to be an adversarial form of negotiation, which doesn't do anybody any good. We need to find a mayor and a council who can actually negotiate something as if it's a partnership, which it is. The more partners we have, the more successful the city is going to be. So we need to find a way to yes. The adversarial approach of our current mayor, I mean, you look at the Uber example, you look at the Calgary Flames, and most recently the Arts Group, who have ceased their negotiation with the city of Calgary for what it sounds like the same reasons as the Calgary Flames did. They're no longer negotiating to take over the space at the old planetarium. So seems to be a pattern. We need to change that.
My position has been clear and consistent. I would love a new arena. I think a lot of Calgarians would love to see a new arena. It's a profit. If it's a very profitable business, and for a profitable business that we're being asked to partner, then we should be benefiting as well financially. And that's not what's before us right now.
The biggest issue in Ward 7 is the City Council bullying Ward 7 residents into new development plans. And we've seen that with Midfield Trailer Park. We've seen that with the redevelopment of Home Road in Montgomery. We've seen that in a couple of the developments in Mount Pleasant. Basically, there's a lack of accountability and transparency with City Council and increasing urban density. As I talk to the presidents of a lot of the community associations, they've expressed that frustration that it doesn't matter what the community says, City Council just passes developments.
I would say the three that I could boil it down to is in the river communities, flood is their major concern. And we have obligations to meet as far as finishing off the job that we started with flood mitigation. Then we've got the Green Line. The Green Line is a huge opportunity. It will travel through Ward 7 communities, many of them, and we need to make sure that it's on track and providing benefit to those neighborhoods. And then I would say reinvestment in the communities. A lot of taxes are generated in the ward, and we need to ensure that some of those taxes go back into rejuvenating these aging communities.
Currently, the biggest issue in our ward, which sadly right now is scheduled to come to a close September 30th, is Midfield Park. The residents of Midfield Park have been dealt with in an abhorrent way, which comes back to my previous question about the flames and the adversarial approach that this city council seems to have with all their dealings. There's roughly 50 trailers, 100 people left in that park who are going to be homeless on September 30th if they keep going in the direction they're going. We've started a GoFundMe page, help the residents of Midfield Park to help. What we're trying to do is get an injunction so that the residents don't have to move out on September 30th. Let's find a proper way to deal with those residents. Throwing them out on the street is not doing anybody any good. There's nothing planned for that site, so why does anyone have to move? So we have encouraged an injunction. A lawyer will be filing, hopefully, papers soon to start an injunction and put a stop to the eviction of the remaining residents of Midfield Park.
Yeah, we are in Ward 7. We're all inner city established communities, and we're going through massive change, which is wonderful in many ways. We're regrowing, we're repopulating, and the young families are moving back in. At the same time, we have very, very old infrastructure. And we have this myth in our city that if you move to the inner city, you already have it all. You don't have to worry about the schools, you don't have to worry about recreation facilities. But in fact, our recreation facilities are already oversubscribed. Our schools largely are already maxed. And so we have to make sure that when we're marketing our inner city as a great place to live, that we actually are planning for all the infrastructure requirements, all the community services, the community recreation and also our schools, and work across jurisdiction with the different school boards. We're not doing that right now, but we need to put our political will into this to make sure we do it. We know how to do it as a city. We do it already in the periphery of the city. Our external communities will require a full community plan before they can put a spade in the ground. We know how to do this, we can do it. We just have to bring those resources back into their city, inner city.
We need to change the councillor is the number one we need to do. Stick to the ARPs. And I do not support in the blanket legalizing of illegal suites. Death traps are death traps, and I am not for that.
Vote to City Council for Daddy.